Thank you.
Right, now we have the... Okay, well look, we're waiting for a memo on the Northwest proposed speed management plan, so I'm intend to move on to the Netsal Sports Centre Limited proposed consultation on ground lease in Punawai. You of course will understand that this morning's presentation was to support the establishment of the Netsal Sports Centre Limited. There is a proposal to consult on a ground lease in Punawai to support that, but the submitters this morning did not touch on that because that is an issue that needs to be debated elsewhere. So, yeah, no, I'm just going to get staff to present the report first, and then I will ask you to move it, Tim. Right, thank you.
Good morning, councillors. Thank you. Just by means of introduction, the authors of the report are here to answer any questions you may have. I would request that in the recommendation that you see in front of you, that we make a minor adjustment to the second recommendation. The Netsal entity have informed us that they have given a commitment to the benefactor, the donor, that they will wrap up all matters prior to the end of June 2020. The date that is referred to as a potential hearing date in the report would not allow that to occur. So we're going to have to do a little bit of work and ensure that the hearing occurs prior to that date. So we're just going to add date to be advised after convened and by the end of June 2020 to the end of the sentence, if that's acceptable. The proposal is obviously a very exciting one for the city. Things have had to move very quickly, generally driven by the desire of the benefactor to see closure. Otherwise, they were going to be considering other options. But I think we've fallen on a really sensible location from a resource consent perspective that will be required. It is a compliant activity. No doubt there will be lots of community input into this consultation process, should you choose to consult. And in particular, there will be a lot of interest, I suspect, around traffic movement, given the scale of the facility. And those matters will be dealt with at that time. The Netsal entity have been advised by our regulatory planners that they will have to have very comprehensive traffic management plans as part of their resource consent application. So just as a reminder, what we're here to focus on today is to notify the public of an intent that we wish to consult on the notion that that land would be utilised for this purpose, and that's the entire purpose of this report.
Thank you very much. So, Tim, part of the reason was to hold back on moving and seconding is that there's been an adjustment to the recommendation. If you're happy with that adjustment, then I'm happy for you to move it, and you'd like to second it, Sarah Templeton. So are there any questions? Oh, quite a few questions. Okay, so we'll take Melanie, Yanni and Jimmy.
Just very quickly, and I wouldn't have noticed this if you hadn't mentioned about the hearings panel, but how long will the consultation period be? Because 2 months is normally, that's actually quite long really, isn't it?
Look, it is, and that was really driven by the first look at the schedule of hearings allowed us to have a longer consultation period. Our engagement team advised us that the common pattern of submissions is usually a bit of a rush at the beginning and a rush at the end, and the bit in between is not so important. But we felt that it is a significant development, and we will give people as long as possible while still being able to present that information back to councillors for a consideration.
So it will still be 2 months.
I think the message is coming through though that time is of the essence, and I think you're going to get an indication from the council that we don't need to have quite the length of time.
Sure.
This is I mean, to be honest, I can't think of any more than one or two that might. I mean, I can't imagine anyone's going to stand in the way of this, and I know you can't predetermine it. And I look forward to the report of the hearings panel, and I will not make up my mind until I hear from them. But I think you're getting a signal from the council that we want you to rock on with this. It's a great concept, and it would be great to get the feedback from the community as urgently as possible. So a sense of urgency you're feeling around the table, and as long as you give people fair and reasonable time to make a submission, given the significance in terms of the scale of the development, which is Ngā Punawai, it's a massive development. So,
Just as a reminder, the Reserves Act requires a minimum of 1 month.
yeah,
And so that's consistent with our normal process.
right, minimum. Thank you. Yanni?
Yeah, thanks. I just wanted to clarify in terms of the information that goes out for consultation. Will the public have enough information to understand things like the traffic management and the parking issues?
That will depend on how far through the resource consenting process the Netsal entity are, but I can follow up on that. It's not required, technically, for this consultation, but we'll certainly encourage the applicant to release as much information as possible.
So is the consent process going in parallel with this process?
Yes.
Yes.
And is it expected the consent process will be publicly or limitedly notified, or we don't know yet?
That's a question for the regulatory team. It's compliant with the zoning in that activity, but there may be 1 or 2 matters that require it to go limited notification or wider, but I can't give you an accurate answer on that.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
again, I mean, I'm slipping in here, but can we encourage you to get as much information
Absolutely.
into the public arena associated with our consultation? And I know that there's an obligation sitting with Netsal, but it would be really good for that traffic management and also parking. You know, I mean, obviously a lot of people park out there. It's a long way out. I don't know whether we've got a bus stopping there yet. But it's certainly something I'd like to be talking to ECAN about, because that would certainly help if we could get buses that were literally using it as a bus stop. Jimmy?
Thank you, Mayor. My question is, what's the relations between the Netsal and also existing the Ngā Punawai, the Sports Trust? What's their relations?
So initial conversations have commenced. That is literally between those entities.
Yes.
They have met, they've discussed the proposal, and they'll continue to discuss it through the consultation process.
Okay, well, they are separate trust. It's not the same trust.
They're
In the
separate
future,
entities
future.
at the moment, but if
Yeah.
this proposal proceeds, remembering we're just at a very early phase, they will continue to engage with each other
Okay,
to work out what that final relationship will be.
okay, thank you.
Good. Anne?
Obviously, this is incredibly exciting for our city and for the area, and it's a wonderful opportunity. You'll know that Ngā Punawai, the team that developed Ngā Punawai did a lot of work in creating a really positive relationship with the people that are living around there, and I think that it's really important that we continue in that vein in terms of consultation and conversation. So people are concerned about the traffic, and they're concerned about the speed that people drive along there. So I'm imagining that those things be given an opportunity to address those. But I'm also wondering, will the same team that actually did the consultation with the residents in the past, will they be the same people again, do you think?
The same, well, certainly
Yes.
the same team, it's council's engagement team.
Right, and it will be the same, yeah, okay, so they will build on that relationship. Yeah, I think it's really important. The neighbours around Ngā Punawai have had to, really accommodate quite a lot. The lighting, for example, the change to the whole area, and they've been very good about it. There's been 1 or 2 who have perhaps, not been as happy as others, but I think it's incredibly important that we build on the relationship and honour that's what's been done before. So if we could please note that I understand there is time constraints, but that people need to be brought along with this to get to continue that positive relationship. Yeah.
Thank you. Sarah?
Mostly covered. I just wanted to reiterate the usefulness of traffic information when it comes to anything that might be controversial over parks and things like that. I know it made a difference in the previous hearings panel, and it's likely to again. Just having that information available and early is really important, especially with timing.
Yes, you could have
Another question, yeah. Just in terms of the placement of the facility, was this the only area that was considered, and why was this area chosen? That's a question that I've been asked.
Are you talking the wider city sense?
No,
or
no, the actual facility, the footprint of the facility, where it's going to be placed at
within that
Ngāpunawai.
parcel, or the wider Canterbury Agricultural Park, Ngāpunawai?
Well, I guess the question I'm asking is, has that been the only place that this facility can be placed?
No, there has been 3 locations where placement has been considered in the wider Canterbury Agricultural Park and Ngāpunawai.
Why was this area chosen?
The Canterbury Agricultural Park area was a direct negotiation between Netsal and Kappa. Council were on the sidelines. And you'd actually have to ask Netsal why they didn't want to stay there. The district plan foresees and allows this type of facility on this particular parcel of land. So that obviously provides a lot of opportunity and a smoother and quicker pathway than an area where notified resource consents would definitely be required, and lots of other encumbrances would have to be overcome. So I suspect that that's the reason why Netsal, when they had essentially 3 parcels of land, 3 locations within that wider parcel of land to consider, settled on this one.
Okay. Yanni?
I was remiss not to ask, but my previous panel members, especially Councillor Vicky Butt, would have wanted me to ask. What's happening to the frogs? This isn't going near the special frog habitat, is it?
It's not, no.
Great, cool. So the frogs are okay. That's really important.
It's an area that was
I didn't know
earmarked in
about
the
the
master
frogs.
plan for future development, and has been used as some of that area has been used for some overflow car parking when required.
But the frog habitat, the special
Frogs are
frog
fine,
habitat
yeah.
is protected, and it will continue, and that's really important.
No, I agree.
Good question.
Native flora and fauna, absolutely. Including frogs. And snails have been, mind you, the snails did find a whole lot of relatives when they were moved. So they weren't as endangered as we thought. So I will put, I'll open it up for debate. I'll put the motion. All those in favour say aye. Those opposed say no. That's carried. Thank you.